Belly of the Beast is the last Steven Seagal movie where he actually seems like he gave a shit.
That's not true, and you know it.
It's still terrible, and he's by far the worst part of it, but still.
You got something else to say?
It starts out 10 years in the past where Seagal and Ryu are doing some high-level CIA shit. When everything goes terribly right, and Ryu flips the f out and executes this evil terrorist who's holding her small child. We then get to the reason any of us watch a Steven Seagal movie, his elite level of athleticism. Steven Seagal did all his own stunts in this movie, and at no point was a body double used. See, that's definitely him. We then get this 100% necessary shoulder roll, him flying down from the second floor without making any noise, and whatever the f this is supposed to be. The movie never explains why he did any of this. Anyways, Seagal's daughter gets herself kidnapped in Thailand. So he has to fly down there to go rescue her. When he gets there, this cab driver tries to talk to him.
Hey, where you come from?
So he lets him know that he's Steven f***ing Seagal and he doesn't talk to peasants.
Yeah, I just need you to get me where I asked you to get me quick, okay?
Before killing him. We then get a classic Seagal fight scene, which is 100% believable, and the way his fights happen in real life. You know, if anyone was ever stupid enough to actually fight him. For all the haters out there that say he's too old and out of shape, then how do you explain this? Checkmate, bitches. Then this guy dies the most predictable and boring way possible by running away and slipping on a tomato that causes him to slide on a table full of frozen fish face first into a cleaver. Even Seagal's wondering if this has gotten too stupid, even for him. Nah, we're good. He then forgets why he's even in Thailand and does what he does best and goes to a strip club. While there, the same thing happens as what happens in every Seagal movie. A young woman at the club comes to him for help.
He won't leave me alone!
And immediately falls in love with him.
Maybe we could get something to eat, something nice.
Seagal really believes people find true love at strip clubs. God bless him. Now Seagal is going to see his buddy Rue that bravely took out the lady terrorist and her terrorist baby 10 years prior. Turns out they were romantic partners, and their forbidden love caused Ryu to run away and join this monastery.
You're looking very good.
Seagal's voice is dubbed terribly throughout this entire scene.
Then again, I think you're the lucky one.
His lips match his words, which means they didn't change his dialogue. His mumbling was just so bad, they thought in the middle of what's supposed to be an emotional scene that this
How are your wounds? And how is your heart?
was somehow better than whatever it was before. Anyways, we now have an awkward love triangle as the lady who's half Seagal's age that fell in love with him at the strip club is now just waiting for him in his hotel room.
What are you doing here?
I come to bring you food.
That's all normal in the life of Seagal though, and the family size order of food she brought is starting to win him over. Then later, she's just sitting in his car and he tells her to get the f out.
Go.
There's no reason for either of these things to be in the movie, but Seagal desperately wants people to believe he's desirable.
It's Jake. Be careful.
Nobody does, and he's not. He finally remembers the reason he's down there, his daughter being held hostage. And he heads down to an abandoned train station where an arms deal is taking place between the terrorists and this smoking hot woman. Seagal saves the head terrorist's life, and everyone just starts shooting everyone else. We get more Seagal doing believable Seagal things, like flying through the side of this train for some reason, so he can land on a cart, and while flying down the track at a blistering 1.5 miles per hour, takes out 20 men who can barely even make out the high-speed blur slowly rolling past them. This scene also blesses us with a firearms lesson from Sensei Seagal. Here, the slide is locked open, indicating he is out of bullets. Being the master gunsmith that he is, Seagal knows exactly how to remedy this problem. You just fiddle with the slide and continue firing. So, anyways, Seagal is arrested because he just murdered a whole load of people.
Some men were killed today. You are responsible.
That's not true, and you know it.
What is he talking about? He killed a bunch of people right in front of the police. Then, in a scene he completely stole from First Blood, this officer just starts hitting him with his club for no real reason, before Seagal single-handedly takes out the entire police department. Not only is it completely pointless to have handcuffs with this long of a chain, but why the doesn't this guy just step to the side since Seagal isn't even looking at him? So a CIA agent shows up and tells them they need to let Seagal go.
He's coming with me.
Because even though the CIA has zero authority over Thailand police, Seagal's a writer and couldn't come up with anything better.
Key.
The lady who's been stalking Seagal then goes to her apartment and finds her roommate has been brutally murdered. Who did this and why? Who the knows? The movie never tells us. It was just an excuse for her to now live with Seagal and give us the most disgusting love scene of all time. Seagal and Ryu then just show up here for poorly explained reasons, but nobody questions it because 1, we're just glad that love scene is over, and 2, we get one of the most ridiculous action scenes of all time. First, these guys fly in from out of nowhere. They then stand around dancing for almost a full minute before finally attacking. If only these guys worked on their fighting as much as they did choreographing that dance. This guy tries to stab Seagal, but he isn't even close to him. In fact, they all swing their swords at Seagal from extremely far away. They do this repeatedly, which gives even the elderly and obese Seagal plenty of time to react. What is this guy even doing here? Do none of them have any depth perception at all? And what even is this? The only way this works is if someone just blindly walks right into it. He's not even facing Seagal or swinging his swords in his direction. You could just walk up behind him and smack him in the head. Seagal kills him anyways. and then stabs this guy in the stomach so hard that he flies backwards through the air. You would think the sword would just go through him instead.
No. I don't think so.
Who am I to question Seagal? Anyways, since everyone's dead now, Seagal has no leads or any idea of where his daughter is. So I guess he has no choice but to chalk this one up as a loss and go home. Unless something crazy happens, like a hot Asian lady standing in the middle of the street who just stares at Seagal seductively before leading him to a back room where she takes her top off and pours water all over her boobs that makes magic symbols appear and tell him where to go. That is literally what happened. I promise I did not make any of that up, and it is somehow the best writing of Seagal's career. So Seagal goes where the, magic boobies tell him to go, which leads him to the terrorist leader. Turns out, he's actually a really nice guy and is being framed for the kidnapping by a Thai military general whose master plan is to have the US eliminate the freedom fighters for him. But nobody gives a shit about any of that. We just want to see more ridiculous fighting, which we get when Seagal goes full Jerry Springer on his former friend.
You know something, Fitz? You ain't nothing but a trailer park bitch.
So the general's plan works, and the US is going to bomb the rebels, which will also end up killing the hostages. The hostages are literally the only reason the US gives a shit about this.
You think we're doing the right thing?
No, you fucking idiot. What you're doing makes absolutely no sense. But whatever, it's a Seagal movie, so stop picking apart the plot, you fucking nerd. Since Seagal is now in a race against time before the US saves the hostages by killing the hostages, he and Ryu attack the military compound his daughter is at. Seagal makes up some hand signals, and while Ryu has no idea what the f Seagal's talking about, he's been through it enough to know it's better just to nod in order to keep this shit moving. So apparently, his hand signals meant, let's just run out and shoot everyone. They then do this highly tactical move of holding your gun around the corner where the enemy can see it while you're hiding behind the wall. Because a gun that's pointing at you while floating off the ground isn't suspicious as fuck. Luckily, Thailand has the worst military on the planet, and Seagal's stupid fucking plans keep accidentally working. Seagal then frees his daughter, and we get to see just how awful the Thailand military actually is. They fire roughly 25,000 rounds and can't hit any of the 4 people they're firing at. And they're really not that far away. I honestly don't know what's dumber, the fact that all this was a part of Seagal's plan, or the fact that it somehow f***ing worked. Let's just ignore that and focus on the final showdown between the general and Seagal. I'm going to be honest, this fight is so stupid, it's actually kinda awesome. He starts off by shooting an arrow at Seagal, who shoots it in half with his last bullet. But the general still has an arrow left, so Seagal does some quick thinking, and while the second arrow is in the air, Seagal grabs a sword from its sheath and splits the arrow in half, long ways. We now get to see where the idiots earlier got it from as the general tries to stab Seagal with a spear from across the fucking room. While this is happening, Ryu is fighting the entire Thailand army. We then get a mix of clearly not Seagal doing slightly athletic things and actual Seagal doing things where the film was obviously sped up. Oh, for fuck's sake, Seagal. There's this weird old man who has a Steven Seagal voodoo doll. Yes, I'm serious, and it works. But then doesn't because of this, which kills the voodoo guy. You know, perfectly normal stuff to just introduce at the end of a movie. Anyways, it's still more believable than Seagal doing fucking gymnastics. But whatever, so he kills the general. And while Seagal took 10 minutes fighting that one guy, since he only went up there with one bullet, Ryu literally defeated the entire Thailand military, and then falls down dead. Right as the US military shows up, making everything Seagal just did completely pointless, proving once again that all Seagal movies are nothing but a waste of everyone's fucking time.